And we are back. Vin and Dave's Destination Unknown. Good evening, sir.
Woo!
I don't know about that. After the what seems to be now the traditional technical hurdles that par for the course, my friend. Par
Indeed,
for the course,
but at least we didn't, spill any wine. I mean, that's a good, that's progress. So
it is, yeah. It's getting better. We're getting better and better. The technical hurdles are getting less and less. Wine is a considerable technical hurdle when you're trying to get things going. Spilling wine on your machinery,
dude,
not good.
No, that's nightmare.
Yeah, nightmare. Wine. If people want to join us with the wine, they can go to vinarmani.com/wine. That'll take you to wink.com. They're actually doing 20%, I believe 20% off gift certificates, which is crazy. If you want to go and check that out, I just got a little notification about that. Send a gift certificate over to show@vinarmani.com, and that will go ahead and send over some wine. What are we drinking tonight?
So tonight we have Slingshot. This is a Napa Valley Cabernet.
It's pretty good.
From 2014, and I'm digging it. This is delicious.
Pretty good. We are are we doing bitbacker.io? I don't know. I didn't put us into the Bitbacker Power Chat today, but if people want to go bitbacker.io, you won't be in the Power Chat. I'm not taking Power Chat today. There was just too much going on for me today. There was too much going on. So, but if you would like to go and be a Bitbacker,
yes.
It's like a Patreon patron, but it's with crypto. It's much better. You be a Bitbacker, do a monthly thing, do a one-time thing, send us a message. We'll use it for wine. That's
Absolutely
how we roll. That's how we roll. Speaking of rolling, people were getting, maybe it's trolling. Or the show today, I wanted to talk about the latest bout of epic trolling that's out there. Probably the weirdest one yet. I think a meme. What are they calling these? Operations. That's what they call them on 4chan. Oh. These troll operations. I believe it seems like the type of thing that would have originated on 4chan. I don't know if it did for sure.
Well, according to the Democrats, it did as part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. So this was hate mongers on 4chan.
Hate mongers.
And they then distributed it out to their puppets, of course, the Ku Klux Klan, everybody else.
The KKK was involved?
Oh, yeah, everybody. Okay. And then it was picked up by normies, who just continued to spread it around.
Right. Yeah,
so,
that's how this whole thing works, is that it's... I'm surprised they didn't say the Russians were
Well,
involved.
They just haven't dug that deep yet.
Oh, okay.
Eventually they'll get to the Russians.
The Mueller investigation will get to the bottom of this one, which is learn to code.
Learn to code, dude.
Learn to code, Dave.
I know. So what we got to do? So
what's interesting, I mean, I teach people how to code.
I know. I learned to code a long time ago.
Yeah, me too.
I started in junior high school, back when computers were new. They had just come on the market.
The Turing machine was.
Oh my God, yes. So we had been using the abacus up to that point. So this is a major upgrade for us. The IBM PC Junior. I'm not sure if you remember that.
I think I do. Yes.
It was. They basically took the IBM PC of the day and down-powered it, which is just blows my mind. How it could even be
there was a hamster running around,
literal
a wheel
hamster.
inside.
Yeah, and it was it was meant for students, right? Because Apple was dominating the school scene.
They were killing it, yeah. With the Apple, what was it, Apple II at that point?
Yeah. So we were one of the few schools that actually had an Apple IIc, which actually had the color.
The color, yeah. Because it was the E before that with the green. Wasn't that the green? The Apple IIe.
You had a choice. You could do the green or the amber. Either one.
Amber,
and
right.
The amber,
they never turned on amber in my school.
Really? Because amber was like what all the cool kids used. That was what you wanted.
Yeah, I was not cool.
Badass.
I went to a ghetto school, so they just had the green and black. They hadn't figured out how to do the amber yet.
So it was that was back in the day, and so I started learning to code then. It was always just kind of a fun thing. I had fun doing it. Like Barack says, coding is fun.
Yeah, so the context of this is that for the people who don't know, I'm sure most people know.
I didn't know until you tweeted me at an ungodly early hour in the morning. It must have been
I was already in the gym.
I know.
I was already pumping iron.
Church of Vin starts early, my friend. Damn. So it must be like, 7:30, something like that. And, blink, my phone goes off. And I'm like, because I'm asleep. And, I roll over and I'm like, what was Vin saying? Check out this meme. It's really awesome. We should talk about it. I'm like, I just went back to sleep. So later that day, I did get a chance to actually take a look and catch up on what I had missed.
All right.
Because when I first saw what you had written,
yes.
I'm like, ooh, I hope it is what I think it is, but then it wasn't. Okay. So we can talk about that next. Right. But go ahead, because this is a really, really interesting thing. Did it blow up like Monday? Was it Sunday night?
I think it was Monday that it blew up, and then Tuesday was kind of what was the backlash. So basically, I guess on Friday, Thursday and Friday was really when the public announcement came out that a whole bunch, I guess BuzzFeed and Huffington Post are somehow sister companies or something like that. They're under the same media umbrella or something
yeah, because there's like 6 entities that own all the media in the entire world. Yeah.
So BuzzFeed and Huffington Post laid off a whole bunch of journalists that had been. What would you say about these particular journalists? For most of them,
non-essential employees.
They're non-essential employees. I mean, they were laying off people who were in these relatively new departments, content sections that I think had only been added since the election of Donald Trump. They were no, seriously, no. I mean, like I'm being serious about it.
No, I get it. I'm just saying that's hilarious that they would do that.
And so the content was essentially like leftist, social justice warrior-y. Was it Orange Man Bad? It was Orange Man Bad, but it was a lot more like the like the studies, like gender studies, like the different race studies, whatever it is, studies. Mm-hmm. It was like those folks.
Are we allowed to do race studies anymore? I thought that was like, once the bell curve happened, it was like we could never do that again.
No, well, I mean, no, you like insert race here studies. So gotcha. Like Chicano studies, Asian American studies. What do they call it? What is it? It's not Hispanic studies. It's not. What is it? It's not Latino studies. What is it?
Isn't it like Latinx? Because it could be
Latinx. So that's. I don't think that's Latinx. Moved all the way into academia yet. It's one of that's like on the fringes. But anyway, it's like gender studies, all those sorts of things. So it was kind of those were the degrees that the individuals had. Like Huffington Post, I believe it was called HuffPost Opinion or something like that. Was one of the big sections that got editors, writers, everybody gone.
Wow.
But it was all. It wasn't hard news at all.
Right.
It was all opinion stuff.
And I'm assuming, just on a side note, that the particular reporter doing the Asian studies and the particular reporter that was doing the Hispanic studies were actually Asian or Hispanic.
Oh, of course.
Because otherwise there would be, cultural appropriation going on, and we cannot have any of that.
It was interesting, as they went back through, like the tweets of. Twitter's amazing for that, like this tweet didn't age well. Like as they went back through the tweets of particularly the editors, there was a lot of stuff sort of if you went back a year, where they were like, we've now got the most diverse, we've got just hired 4 new minorities and 5 women, and we've got, the most queer in writers of any writing room or blah blah blah. Fired, everybody fired. I think really the main problem was that all they could do was critique. So it was like there was no hard news, there was no investigation. It was sort of like, oh, this person wrote an article over here in Huffington Post, and now we are going to critique it. Basically deconstruct it. It's like it's postmodern. It's that whole thing. Like, okay, we're going to do deconstruction on this person's article, critical theory, all of that. So that's very redundant, though. Because it's like, how many people are really reading that? It just reinforces it's things that you could have done in a tweet storm anyway. You could have done 5 tweets and had the same effect. And so They trimmed the fat, cut these people loose, and then on Monday, in come the trolls, specifically targeting these individuals who, by the way, had outed themselves, many of them, because they were like, immediately took to Twitter, well, we're all getting let go. Oh, so sad to say goodbye, blah, 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 to get the sort of sympathy. But at the same time, it's like, if you would not have said that, nobody would have known to target you. But I'm sure over the weekend, the 4chan folks were like, okay, here's the list and go get them. And what they decided to get them with was #LearnToCode.
Why would they choose that?
So I don't know that it was, I don't know whether it was after the fact or whether this was actually how they had planned it, but there was some set of articles that was circulating that was about I don't know whether it was even from some of these authors, but it was certainly from Huffington Post and I think from BuzzFeed as well, that it was about these coal miners losing their jobs, and that the story was all about, from coal to code, these coal miners are learning to code so that they could go back into the workforce and all of this, right? And I think that it was a sort of a callback to that.
Sure. Yeah.
Or at least whether that, even if that was after the fact, it still is a great justification and still is kind of a wonderful way to bring it full circle and tie it back in.
Absolutely. And I think that, some of the comments that I saw on Twitter were stating that the original articles had been, more pejorative in nature. They had been saying, well, these coal miners are in a horrible, dirty job. They need to learn to code so they could do something valuable. And I don't know that I actually saw that in the original articles. I think, that part of it might have been a bit overstated. But there was certainly a lot of focus on coal miners being let go, and then somebody coming along, these news stories about they're learning to code, they're learning different skills, they're learning to move on with their life outside of coal. And but when it comes to being a journalist, that apparently is the only job they can possibly do, because they can't pick up any other skills, do anything else. They are limited to that one particular job.
Well, it is particularly, I think, in those positions, those are glorified bloggers, really.
Totally.
They're given really a free rein to be able to kind of, they workshop their topics, obviously, so the editors are really deciding on these things. But a lot of it is just, here's a political position that we know this particular tribe holds. Let's magnify that with, it's basically propaganda.
Totally.
It's basically propaganda.
They would have all been let go anyway.
Yes.
The next time a Democrat gets into office. So.
That's right. Yeah. So it was reactionary, and it is I think that it is a great juxtaposition with the mining and with the coal miners and with the journalism, because it's like, there's not a lot of carryover for that style of writing.
No.
There's not a lot. And most of them are not even really that great of writers.
No, they're not.
And so you got it, there's that, Schadenfreude, I can never say it right. Well, you feel that tinge, but at the same time, you've got these individuals who, they're asleep. Really, they've been laboring under. They made it. They're at Huffington Post. Oh, look, I'm writing my own ticket. I'm at Huffington Post and rubbing it in a little bit. They got their blue check mark. So I'm right. I'm a writer at HuffPo. I've got it's all in their Twitter bio and the whole nine, and that's part of their identity, and they've been working for that. And so, you take a little bit of delight, but then at the same time, you also got to take a step back and be like, well, what are these people going to do? Seriously, though. What are they going to do?
I don't know. They could learn to code. I just got banned by Twitter.
Well, that was the other thing, that Twitter started. I I don't know if they banned anybody, but they put people in timeout. They have the Twitter timeout.
Yep.
People were getting put in timeout 12-hour, 24-hour, left and right.
Yeah.
For just saying learn to code, which is that's such a crazy it's actually, well, I have a tough time with it, right? Because it's not yes, that's probably a good idea, but if you're not really into that, if that's not really something that you want to be doing, that's a really shitty job to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just have the skills, but look, I even feel that way if I'm, in the time when I was doing it as a 9-to-5 gig, if I was lucky enough to have to work with great recruiters, and so if I moved around, it was always like I was doing something, but like to be coding and working at something where I just really was just not into it, that's bad too.
No, it totally is. And there is an aptitude part of it, right? Because not everybody can write and code. You do.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but you got a weird brain, so
Yeah, it's fair enough. Fair enough.
So not everybody can do that, but it's like any skill, right? You have to have an interest. You have to have something that pulls you towards it. You can't be pushed at it. You can't be just doing it because you're forced into it. There has to be a pull. Something has to pull you into it. And that's what happened with me when I learned to code. And it's like learning to code. There's a fundamental skill set that you develop the first time some people, and this doesn't happen to everybody, but the people who end up actually being good at it and doing it for a living, something clicks in their head at some point along the way while they're learning, their first language. And then they start realizing I learned this in C++, but I bet I can do the same thing in Java.
Yep. It's just syntax.
Yep. So you learn a little different way, but the thought process, that's the key component.
Yes.
And I mean, if they're writing Orange Man Bad articles, they don't have that thought process.
Well, clearly, you got to be a legit critical thinker. That's the thing. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's in my Code from Go classes. I think it's really that's what I cover in like the first, it's for people who have zero coding knowledge. So those are the types of things that are that basic. What would you call it? Vocabulary.
Yeah.
That basic vocabulary of variables. This is what variables are. And here are the basic data types that you're going to use over and over. Your strings and your arrays and your integers and on and on and on and on and on. Right? Your structs or dicts or objects or whatever they're however dicks. And what is a function and what is that doing and what are the arguments and what are parameters and and once you get sort of your mind starts to get around that, and then it's no longer, the rest is just now it's no longer like Chinese, it's no longer just characters. I know what all those operators do.
Yeah.
And I know what all of that means, and now it's like I can actually read. Whether I understand what the program's doing, I can read this line of code and understand what's happening on this line of code. And from there, you can bootstrap yourself to anything.
Exactly. And it's that way with anything like that. Like, for example, if you do photo editing, whether you use, Corel products or Adobe products or whatever company, whatever products you use, there are similar concepts throughout. So you're going to be doing the same kinds of, filter application and blurs and, things with lenses and, working in layers and all that. It's all the same.
Yep.
Now the buttons look different and they might call it a different thing, but it's exactly the same process. Same thing with coding, same thing with, pretty much any
video editing, audio,
video game creation,
game creation. Sure.
So all of it is very, flowchart-esque, right? So you have a flow to it. But yeah, with the journalists, it's very much like they learn this one thing. Okay, I know how to criticize Republicans. And that is my entire life.
Right.
And if I don't get to criticize Republicans and get paid a lot of money for it, I can't do anything. I'm done. Like, I quit.
Well, you're a propagandist. I mean, that's what that's what these people are.
They're not even
they're
good because
propagandists.
in wartime, you got to create propaganda that you
Oh,
might
yeah.
not necessarily believe in, but it better be good because you're going to be dropping leaflets on a whole bunch of people. And, it's like if you're a good propagandist, there's always work for you.
Well, people should go back and watch our episode where we talked about comic books and where we talked about the fact that Stan Lee, Dr. Seuss, Frank Capra, they were all in the same propaganda unit during World War II. So, that's, Adams, who created the Addams Family, like all of them, these great, Dr. Seuss, all of them. So, yeah, if you're a legit propagandist, you're not tripping.
No.
You're not tripping.
No, you just go work for the next guy. And it might be you go work for the NRA. Cool.
There-
Because a
yeah.
real propagandist
That's right.
would make the jump from Huffington Post to the NRA in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
No problem.
I could do it.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
So I do.
Yeah.
I write words that convince people to do things.
I mean,
Done.
that's you're like a Werner von Braun at that point. Like, I'll make you a missile or I'll shoot a rocket to the moon. The same shit.
Same thing.
Same shit
I'm
to
still
me.
doing my job.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Whether I'm doing it for Hitler or for the
it.
U.S., whatever,
Yeah,
don't care.
Yeah. But that's the true school right there. Like those are people who are dedicated to their craft. They're not ideologically possessed.
Yes.
And I think that's really what
Possessed. I love that.
ideologically possessed. I wish I could take
so
credit, but
good.
that's Jordan Peterson. I wish I could take credit for that.
Yeah, that's great
He
saying.
says you can always tell. This is one of the greatest gems that he's had because it's so true. He said you can always tell when someone is ideologically possessed. No, you can tell when someone's ideologically possessed because you can always predict what they'll say next.
Like an NPC.
They're an NPC. Ideological possession is the NPC.
So all these journalists are just NPCs.
They're all NPCs.
Yep.
And I think that's got to be the scariest part for them because it's like, well, now what? And especially that now they're all going to be applying for this. There's not that many positions for propagandists. They were lucky that they got the ones that they did. Trump, basically, they should thank Trump.
Oh, they absolutely should. Yes.
They should thank Trump for the paychecks that they got. Because if it would have been Hillary, or even if it would have been Ted Cruz, there's no work for them.
No.
There's no outrage.
Imagine trying to be, write these outrageous articles against a Mitt Romney.
They would fall flat.
Yeah.
They would fall. Wait,
like-
against Mitt, old churchy like choir boy Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
You're gonna write something bad about him.
He enunciates all his words. God, hate that.
He loves his family. He doesn't drink. He never swears. He's so polite.
So much white privilege and all that.
How dare he? I don't even think you bring up white privilege because somebody's going to be like, "No, Mitt was born in Mexico.
Yeah.
He's a Mexican."
There you go. Oh, damn it. Now he can't be president. Oh.
It's like it'd be like Mitt's more Mexican than the Latinx person over here. He was born in East LA. Mitt was born in Mexico. Mitt's an immigrant. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, Trump. But I think now, and maybe the reason that they let them go was because Trump is towing the neocon line now. He's getting ready to have some wars. Mm-hmm. He pulled out of Syria. They didn't like that. But looking like he's about to fire one up in Venezuela.
Sure, why not? They got oil. Let's go get it.
I'm surprised that they've been able to hold it off for this long with all that oil.
Them people need some freedom. We need to go down there and give them some freedom because they need to be liberated from all their oil.
Yeah, we're going to we'll trade you your oil for your freedom. You give us your freedom and give us your oil.
There we
where
go.
we'll take it.
As I understand it, a bunch of socialists down there, so we are going to go desocialize them.
It's unbelievable that the same. When I saw that, it was like, what's happening? There's this organization, the Venezuelan National Assembly. They just elected this leader, Juan Guaido. And then all of a sudden...
Guaido?
Guaido. And I'm like, wow, they are really... And then they're just like, no, he's the president. Everybody just said he's the president. All the Europeans, the U.S. is like, he's the president. So I look into this thing and it's like, oh, the Venezuelan National Assembly was stripped of all their legislative power back in August by it's called the Constituent Assembly that's rewriting the Constitution. They basically stripped the National Assembly, which used to be kind of like the parliament, stripped them of all their... So here's this group with no legislative power whatsoever. No position in the government. It's kind of like a private organization now. It's a remnant, a vestigial structure. And this guy gets put as the head of it. And then the Trump administration is like, nope, he's in charge. They gave him over control of all the Venezuelan bank accounts. They seized all Venezuelan associated bank accounts, including the bank accounts for Citgo, the company Citgo, the oil company, gasoline. So if you're in a region that has Citgo gasoline stations, they seize those bank accounts. The businesses are still running, and all of that money they're funneling to this Juan Guaido guy. They gave him complete control over all of those accounts.
Amazing. He's
a private citizen. He's not even associated with the government. There's no legislative power in this organization. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is Ahmed Chalabi and the Iraqi National Congress. When they were like, the Iraqi National Congress was nothing. It was a dissident political group.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, this guy's he's going to be the leader. And I said, they're doing it. They don't even switch it up. They don't even switch the pattern up. And people are just like, okay, here we go.
Right. But I mean, if you tell a lie enough times, people believe it. It becomes the truth.
Well, the thing is, they keep getting away with it. So if it keeps working, you found it. You found okay, this is what we do. We do 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
Always works.
Yeah.
It's been long enough. It's been 20 years. People have forgotten. They don't,
Oh, yeah, because nothing happened before, 10 years ago.
No,
it's incredible. The period of time that the typical American actually remembers anything is so short nowadays. So, yeah. If there's a pattern that works, if there is a process for implementing whatever power structure we want in some country that has something we want, that's what we're going to do over and over and over and over.
Well, and it's good for Trump to get reelected because you always reelect, a president always gets reelected if it's in the middle of a war. That's the surest way. Well, I guess George Bush didn't, did he?
Yeah,
but he ended the war too fast. That was the problem.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
If he would have kept it going, Clinton wouldn't have beat him.
Mission accomplished? Is that the?
No, I'm talking about the first one.
Bush the senior.
Oh yeah, Bush the younger. He learned his lesson. He was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Those are Cheney was like multi-generational. Multi-generational. Well, we're in a multi-generational conflict. And we have been.
Well, we have been.
Fathers and sons have fought in Afghanistan.
Yeah. But we've been doing these police actions all over the world since Vietnam. We have been unable to
Some
stop.
might say Korea was a police action.
Sure. Yeah. We haven't had a real war since World War II. These are all of the military activity that we have going on. And notice the propaganda change, right? Because after Vietnam, we had soldiers coming back who were, spit upon and booed and, we hate the soldiers, blah, blah, blah. Because people knew that the United States should not be over there doing what they were doing.
I think some of it was also because of the draft. I think that there was just a hatred of the structure of it all.
Right, because people were being drafted to go to a war that they didn't believe in.
That's right. Yeah.
There were people drafted for World War II, but they believed in it. They were lining up.
Yeah. Well, the propaganda was, because they controlled the messaging. That's where they fucked up in Vietnam. They sent reporters in there, and the reporters just had too much freedom. They went willy-nilly. They weren't controlling the message anymore. They weren't making the newsreels like Stan Lee and the boys used to do.
Yeah. And when you can give somebody a forced perspective, like we talked about last week, and all they see is through one lens, all they're seeing is just a very narrow view, and that view is specifically providing propaganda. Everybody's going to come to the same conclusion. So we entered into this time in our history where we were hating on the soldiers themselves. And so what the government did is they said, oh, we can't have that because then we'll have to stop going to war, and we can't stop going to war. Right. So we're going to have to change the message. That way, yes, you can be mad at your country. You can, hate the war, but let's always celebrate our troops, right?
The wonderful troops.
Yes. Our, and then if we have somebody impersonating a troop, that it's a stolen valor.
Stolen valor, yes.
And if we have, then we're going to give them discounts, and we're going to give them, getting on board planes first.
Parking spaces now.
Parking spaces.
That's a new one that has just started popping up now. The veterans parking.
Yeah, it's like if we celebrate our veterans and really elevate them and put them on a pedestal, then all the wars we want, we can have till the end of time, because that's what we're all about, man. We just want war all the time.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Well, it is great for all of the major institutions. I mean, the media loves it.
Oh yeah.
You can't. I mean, war is the best ratings. That's like the cable news channels. Oh, there's nothing better than war.
Absolutely. And then you get all these, retired generals and colonels on television who have their Pentagon talking points. They've started rolling them out in the last day or two. Yeah. Right on schedule.
Yeah. Right on schedule, bringing them out. And it's like, wow, here we go, which is
you brought up a really interesting point for the show. You said it's probably not going to be our troops.
It won't be American troops, no. It'll be Colombian paramilitaries. So there's been paramilitaries fighting in Colombia for the last, 30 years, since the 80s, 70s, really late 70s. They're still around.
Yeah. I
mean, they've done ceasefires and everything and moved to be a little more of like political parties, but those paramilitaries are still around. So they'll fund them. They'll send them across the border, and the Venezuelan Maduro's government is running out of money. They're not going to be able to fight for long, but I think they have a relatively modern military. I know they've got Russian nuclear bombers. They've got fighter jets. Chavez, I guess it's pretty old equipment since then, but it's no joke. So
but I mean, honestly, any third world, well, they're not third world, but any country like that can pick up Russian and U.S. and Chinese hand-me-downs. on the secondhand market pretty cheap. And still be more powerful than 80% of the countries out there.
No, agreed. Have any of these wars worked? Like, that's the whole thing.
No.
And they're not for oil. I think none of these were ever for oil. I think the fact that the oil was there is what gets certain influential groups to agree to back it, sort of on a global, that gets the global elite to agree to it. To be like, okay, because in general, war is pretty fucking bad for business.
Depends on which business you're in.
This is true.
Because war is it's a means all unto itself, right? I mean, it is the point. Like
right.
The whole purpose of it's like the military-industrial complex that used to talk about years and years ago. That is a real thing, and it didn't start in the 60s. General Smedley Butler wrote a book, and I think it was like 1913. When he, I don't know, this is a long time ago. Dude writes a book.
20s, I believe it was. Smedley Butler?
Yeah, it was right after the First World War. Right after the First World War, the guy basically wrote it, and it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a book. It's more like a thick pamphlet.
It's like War is a Racket?
War is a Racket, yeah. And it is insanely revealing because here's a guy whose job it was to be the best soldier, the best general that he could possibly be. He went out there and, he led his troops and did all the things for a noble cause until he realized that he was not fighting for a noble cause. He was really fighting and supporting the war machine that really just needs to keep cranking along. So supporting the war machine and supporting, the businesses that provide goods and services to keep the war machine going, that's ultimately the point. It doesn't matter about oil. It doesn't matter about any of that stuff. But you have a giant chunk of the economy that is then controlled by the most powerful people.
Right.
That is important to keep going.
Well, that was Cheney's whole bag with Halliburton and all of that. I mean, they basically got every contract for the military, from feeding them to, construction to laundry service to all of that. And it's like, yeah, that's being paid for on your dime.
Yeah.
Shoveled right back into good old Cheney's pocket.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Trillions of dollars.
Trillions.
Yeah.
And because, all that stuff used to be done by the military. I mean, that cook used to be a position in the military.
Yeah. Totally.
Now, no. All meals are all cooked by outside contractors.
Oh man, they have catering? Holy shit.
I don't know how good the food is or not, but it's all outside contractors now. The laundry service, the transportation, all of that. Things that used to be all done by the military. The Air Force would fly in the C-130 and fly the troop carrier and the whole nine. Nope, not anymore.
Wow.
That's, you got private contractors flying in and out, and it's like that, all of that money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got your privateers. You've got all of that, profiteers, I should say. You've got your war profiteers. I'm talking about more like, well, I guess you do have the reconstruction, telecommunications, all of that. You got to stick people in there. But a place like, Venezuela is very different, because Venezuela is it's very modern, except for the fact that the economy has been shit for like the last 10 years. They've got everything there that we've got here. At least the upper class does.
Well, the upper class in a lot of countries has all the stuff we have here. It's just.
You can. They've got they've got fast food chains. They've got all the you go to a mall and there's the Gap and all that. Now, of course, you've got slums that are way worse than maybe not worse than the worst slums in the U.S., but pretty bad. But it's not, it's not like Afghanistan is what I'm trying to say. It's not like going into Kabul and there's nothing there.
Yeah, they're not living in caves.
They're not, exactly. You don't have, that's not what it is. It's not a bunch of goat herders everywhere, No, seriously. It's not like tribal people not connected. Like, we're talking about, Caracas is a major city. It's a major world city, with like all the trimmings. And that's, going to war in that sort of environment is not what you want to do. And there are going to be just, look, Iraq is still not settled, man. That situation's still not settled. People don't like people do not like the idea of some other country coming in and telling them how to run their shit. Regardless of what the propaganda says, nobody wants America going and running their shit.
Yeah. Even though we've been doing it for freaking ever, we're still in Germany. Mm-hmm. We're like
Japan.
One of our largest bases in Germany, billions per year into the German economy.
Rammstein, right? Rammstein Air Base. Yeah, it's huge.
For what? Like, are they a threat? Are we really?
The Germans?
Yeah. Are we thinking?
The Germans? You always have to look out for the Germans. When you turn your back on them.
Oh, yeah. That's what happens? Ha! Okay. All right. So
you got to stay on top of the Germans. Do not let them out of your sight, because you let them out of your sight for 1 minute and they're goose stepping. They're doing all kind of weird occult shit. It's like, Germans. Come on, people. Come on. We've succeeded in keeping them in Birkenstocks, and so maybe that base needs to be there. You know, you take the base out, and out go they're like, Srones, the Birkenstocks gone. Jack boots, pow! The little helmet with the fucking little thing on the top, boom! The little spike.
Oh my God. Kaiser goes from being a bun to being a leader. Oh no. So, but same with Japan, same with, all of these different countries where we have like sovereign territory, sure. It's our territory.
Philippines.
And, And, I can't imagine if China had a big base in Texas, how that would go down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, there are very few. Are there any other countries that really even have foreign bases anymore? I mean, Russia's got the bases in Syria, but besides that, I don't think there's.
There's probably quite a few Russian bases in the former, Soviet bloc countries.
Right, right.
But as far as empire building,
but that used to be part of Russia, is the thing.
Right. Yeah. They were actually part of the Soviet Union.
Right.
At
exactly.
one point.
Yes.
But as far as like empire building and actually, like planting our flag in different countries, that's all us, man. It's like
so, it's so weird. It's such a weird. It's such a weird thing to do. Mm-hmm. It's almost. Really we're in a too big to fail situation now, because and I think we saw that with the people getting up in arms about pulling out of Syria. Oh, you're gonna pull these. Oh my God, we're gonna pull these troops out of Syria. We're abandoning our allies, and it's like hold up. What do you mean? This was like the sovereign territory of a country. Mm-hmm. There's a problem. Like a country. What the fuck? We don't have. What are we doing? Like what are Americans? There have never been any Americans in those parts of Syria before. Never in some little outback rural where the religions are weird. Like they've got all those kind of weird. They've got the Druze and all kind of weird ass religions. The people are all mixed up. They're not even Arabs. They're speaking all kind of weird different languages. This is not a place for a farm boy from Iowa that's over there. Right? This is not for you. You're not supposed to be there. This is not it. And yet people upset. Oh my God. Oh, Trump's gonna pull out of Syria. It's gonna go to hell. What's gonna go to hell?
Yeah.
What is?
Walk up to the average person on the street and ask them why we went there in the first place.
Fight ISIS.
Really?
Fighting ISIS.
But would the average person know that? When you walk up to somebody...
Well, first off, is it even true? Is that even true?
I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think so. So in my world, none of it's true.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, none of it's true.
I am. So that was something with this Venezuela story. Mm-hmm. Is I'm looking and I'm just like, okay, step back for a minute. Okay. One of two things is happening here. Either Maduro is not the dictator that people are saying that he is, mm-hmm. or this Juan Guaido character is no longer in the country of Venezuela. It's got to be one or the other. And then there are these sparse, like, there's reporting that, like, yeah, Juan Guaido speaking in front of this group at the Central University in Caracas, and then afterwards they all marched in the street. Oh, here's Juan Guaido and his wife speaking on this stage, and then there's this audience. Oh, here he is walking through the street. Oh, he's saying that police showed up at his home in Caracas and harassed his wife. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. If China right now recognized me as the legitimate president of the United States, Emperor of the United States, seized all the financial assets,
Bitcoin, cash,
fiat, bank accounts associated with the U.S. in China, and then diverted it all to my control, I would be if that happened like right this minute, that door would be busted down and I would be under arrest before the end of this show.
Oh, dude, there'd be freaking, CIA,
Helicopters,
FBI, helicopters
coming through the window.
Yeah. It'd be like a scene out of a movie. Right. Yeah. It'd be awesome. I'd be sitting here eating popcorn like, oh, they're going to arrest Ben.
Oh, no, they'd get you too. They'd get you too. just for being here with me. I would be in fucking Guantanamo within the next 4 hours.
Yeah. And the whole time you're going to be like, am I being detained?
Right.
Am I being detained? Somebody tell me, am I being detained?
I'm not Adam Kokesh. I would run the fuck out of. They're gonna have to shoot me in the back. I am not Kokesh. You're not taking me that easy. If I'm going to Guantanamo, you're gonna work. You're gonna work up a sweat to get me. No, but seriously. So I'm like, okay. I can't think of a country that is so free that wouldn't be the case. And yet, supposedly, we're going to go... So I'm like, so something is... I'm not being told everything. Clearly, I'm not being told everything because this dude is walking around free? Well, with control of the Citgo bank accounts in his hand, talking shit and saying, I'm the real leader of this country, and they're just letting him walk around the capital city?
So I will say PIX or GTFO.
Right. Well, well, no. And so here's the thing. So there is pictures. And
unedited pictures?
Well, do I know that this is in Caracas, Venezuela? Does anybody... all I'm seeing is, here's a picture of this guy. He's got microphones in his face. There's people around him. But I'm only seeing like 6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
Because I'm only seeing, like you were talking about, forced perspective. I'm only seeing this angle. There could literally be only 6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
This guy could be anywhere.
Yeah. He could be in a Walmart parking lot in Spain.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. He could be on a sound stage with a green screen, and
on a destroyer in the ocean,
easily
run by the U.S. Yeah.
Easily,
easily. It's not like we haven't done it before.
I don't know why this is escaping people. I don't know why people are not like, wait a minute. Imagine myself in that situation. Would I be able to walk around the streets of my town if an enemy country had declared me to be in front of the UN to be the official president of the United States? Would Donald Trump allow that to continue for even an instant?
Oh no. No.
And you're saying, but that's happening in a Latin American authoritarian socialist dictatorship that's occurring, though. It couldn't happen here.
You got to understand.
But they're totally realistic.
You got to understand, these are real journalists. They're reporting hard news. There's never any fakery in hard news, ever. Don't look up the whole, like NBC, Ford.
No.
Don't look at that. But
don't pay attention. Man behind the curtain. Don't pay attention. No.
Yeah. But real journalists are saying that these things are happening. By the way, are they real journalists, or is this like some random HuffPost person?
No, this is stuff that's being reported on CNN, NBC, ABC, Reuters.
But what's the source? Like it all goes back to is it Associated Press?
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. Dude.
Where's the origin?
Well, here's what's interesting. So, I just saw somebody posted up Reuters Latin America's Twitter. The official Twitter for Reuters Latin America has changed their banner picture to be Juan Guaido.
Oh yes.
The Economist magazine, their cover is like Juan Guaido raising a fist with like these stars around him, and they've changed their Twitter background to a repeating tile of that. So
it's perfect. That's fantastic. That's exactly what you would do if you were trying to sell a specific message.
Well, but of course.
Yeah.
And so then it raises the issue of, clearly, none of this messaging is for domestic Venezuelan consumption.
No.
Because this shit, they know what the situation with the National Assembly is. Nobody in the media is saying, oh, by the way, yes, he's the head of the National Assembly. That's more kind of like a political party that doesn't actually have any real legitimate power under the Constitution anymore. It used to, but it no longer does. Like, he's just a 35-year-old former engineer, private citizen who, by the way, the type of person that would be willing to do something like this, extra legally, constitutionally, that's the motherfucker you need to be scared of. Because when he gets into power, he's going to be a fucking monster. Because this is the guy who doesn't give a shit about the rule of law.
It depends. Two things. Okay. One, if this is his idea and he's the driving force behind it, then you are 100% correct.
No, he's not. He's a CIA asset.
Sure. Yeah. So, the second scenario then is if he's a puppet. And if he's a puppet, then it's going to be the puppet masters that are actually calling shots. You still need to be scared of that. But he's not going to be like a Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was a total psycho running his country, doing all kinds of crazy shit. If this guy is just a CIA puppet, then he's going to be under the control of the CIA, do whatever he tells them, or they tell him. And I mean, he literally could be like the president of the Kiwani Club, or the Rotary Club.
That's what he is.
Yeah. And they just said, okay, we're going to pick this guy. We're going to put him in power because he's pliable.
Well, yeah. But that's in many ways, that's if they think their economy is bad now, just wait.
Oh, yeah.
Just wait until you're nothing but a vassal state of the U.S.
A lot of our listeners probably don't know what vassal means. Actually, we have smart listeners.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the general public doesn't know what vassal means. Our listeners do.
A vassal is essentially like a servant, I guess you could say. It's a feudal servant. So it would be somebody who is subservient to the lord of a region who just does their bidding. You're a vassal of the king. You're a servant of the king.
So I was looking up Venezuelan population. 31 million people, 32 million people, somewhere around there.
Yeah. About the population of California.
Yeah. So, basically what we're doing is we're saying, we don't like Schwarzenegger. We're going to put in this other guy who is going to run you people, and it's going to look great to everybody outside your state. Outside. Because honestly, who cares? I mean, it's 32 million people. It's the population of California. Nobody cares.
Except they have the largest proven oil reserves of any country, so everybody cares.
Well, do they?
I mean, it's not a good look.
No, but I mean, that is a great selling point to a whole lot of people. A lot of people
the oil?
love that selling point. Yeah, the oil.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, but then it's like, but is that really why we're there? And, honestly, I just think it's the next best target. Like the war machine has to keep eating. The war machine, we have to keep feeding the war machine. It's like, what's coming up next? It's like, well, Venezuela's next. All right, throw them in there. And then who's after that? Because there will be one, and there will be one after that, and after that.
Might be North Korea. I think they're setting North Korea up. I think they're setting them up.
I don't know how much of a real danger North Korea is.
No, they're not a real danger. We don't go to war with real dangers. That's the point.
No. That's why we haven't.
So that's the reason why they might be next.
Yeah.
It's because they're not a real danger.
Russia and China are unmolested.
On the border. They're on the border, though.
Yeah. But we don't mess with them that much. No. We talk a big game, but we don't do anything.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, that's the balance. Mm-hmm. That's the balance of, powers in the world. It's 1984.
Yeah.
It's Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Right out of the book.
I mean, North Atlantic Treaty Organization is NATO. Right? And then you've got Eurasia, which is Russia, straddles Eurasia. It is from Europe to Asia. And then East Asia is China. That's what Orwell is describing it. And, in the book, he's specifically in the book within the book, which is very interesting, which is my favorite part of 1984, and it's why I tell people, don't watch the movie, like read the book. But the theory and practice of oligarchical collectivism, Emmanuel Goldstein's book in there, where he says they're never at war like with each other within the borders of their own countries. They just fight in the resource regions. And they'll take over this little piece, then this side takes it over, then this side takes it over, then this side takes it over. And it's just the poor people in the... God forbid you've got natural resources in your country. God for fucking bid.
Yeah.
That is the worst curse. I mean, that was Africa's curse. Africa's curse was you got too much good shit here.
That was the Native Americans' curse.
Native Americans' curse? Oh, you got arable farmland that you're just letting weeds grow out here. Yeah. What are you doing? You're just letting prairie grow, and you're letting these big ass cows run, or big buffalo run around and eat the grass.
The hell is this with these buffalo? You just let them run around? Jesus, because they're going to eat all the good stuff. All right, I'm bringing the army in here, and we're going to slaughter these damn buffalo.
And then we're going to slaughter you.
And then we're going to slaughter you. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the way it is.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Pop you onto these. We picked the shittiest land for you.
Yep.
Shittiest land. Oops. Whoops. Oh, damn. Actually, there's uranium on there, so...
Oh,
yeah.
Welcome to the restaurant. We have your reservation. Unfortunately, the table up front with the uranium is not available. Exactly. We're going to have to seat you next to the restroom.
You could put a casino on that bitch. Maybe.
Someday, your savior will be born. Her name will be Elizabeth Warren. She will be 1024th Native American. And, then perhaps you will have some hope after she gets done giving hope to all the, Democrats and all of her other special interests. Then maybe somebody will look out for the Native people.
Yeah, it is a... It is going to be, the next 2 years is going to be an absolute clusterfuck. So we have the Democratic ticket looks like Bernie Sanders.
Of course.
Elizabeth Warren.
Yep.
And then I called the next two. I called them a couple years ago. Kamala Harris and now Cory Booker announced today.
Cory Booker didn't surprise me. Kamala Harris kind of surprised me a little bit.
I think she well, and then Willie Brown, former mayor of San Francisco, former speaker of the California Assembly, came out and said, "Yeah, I fucked her. I was fucking her all the time. Like that's she fucked her way to the top." And I'm like, Willie, my man, his old ass, He was like, she was a nice young piece. Yeah, we were having an affair the whole time. And it's like, that won't hurt her in California. It might hurt her in the rest of the country, but yeah.
You know who I want back? I would love it if this guy would run for president, because the rent is too damn high.
Oh, this guy.
I have no idea what his name was, but if that guy could be my president, I would be proud to say that guy's my president.
Well, I like John McAfee and his. I don't know if you've been following his videos from exile, that he's now in exile.
I have watched a couple. I haven't watched them all, but I've been a big fan of McAfee for a long time.
He's an animal. He's an animal. I like where he's at right now.
So all you kids out there listening to this, and you wonder where the McAfee antivirus program came from,
this is the guy.
This is the guy.
Well, but people have to watch, if you have not seen the documentary Gringo.
Gringo?
Yes.
I have not seen this.
Oh, dude. It's the documentary about McAfee when he went down to Belize and then fled the country after he killed his neighbor, basically. So he hired all the craziest sort of like the thugs of this region that he was in to be like his private security service. So awesome. he had like this kind of like, he was, because when he left doing the antivirus stuff, he then became like a yoga guy. Did you know about that? He wrote like a fuck ton of books. He wrote like 9 or 10 books about yoga, and he was doing these yoga retreats in Colorado. He had this big compound.
Wow.
Where he's like a yoga master.
Is this before or after he went crazy and did a bunch of cocaine?
This is, I think, during.
Okay. All right. Because that was what I was familiar with. Like, okay, he got out of tech and was mega rich.
Yes.
And just wanted to do like all the coke in the world and party his ass off.
He started out, I think he started out with this yoga thing. Did that for years. Then he bought this property in Belize. And he went down there, and it was all about natural medicines.
Okay.
But I think the reason that you get to, I'm going to Belize and hiring these scientists to like come in and try to like take all the flora and fauna and try to see if they can make any pharmaceuticals out of it, right? Some medicines. That was what he was doing. Yep. I think the reason you get down there into the plant medicine is because you're doing a lot of drugs.
Oh, sure.
So I think it was probably like, got into the yoga, absolutely was probably smoking weed at that time, doing the mushrooms, the whole nine. He's got all the money. He's in that scene. Like he's up in like Vail or Breckenridge, something like that in Colorado. The coke is flowing up in those places, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that's the jet set. You know what I mean? And he's a rich man. He's getting it. You can't avoid the coke. You can't avoid it.
Well, this would have been in the 80s, right?
This is in the probably late 80s or early 90s, I would say.
Yeah. That was prime time.
Yeah.
For original cocaine.
Oh yeah, the OG. Yeah, the shit that'll really kill you. Yeah, where you will die.
Well, no, I mean, so crack actually came after.
I'm talking about like uncut.
Yeah, if you had the white powder,
yes.
Like if you have ever, like if you're a young kid today, you might not be familiar with cocaine in its powdered sugar form.
Yes. The best shit out there. Kids don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't get started because you will never stop.
You'll like it.
You will absolutely love it.
It is designed to make you like it.
It makes you think that you are the most interesting person that has ever existed on the face of
That's right. That's right. Now,
that your words are pure brilliance. Pure
yes.
brilliance. Yes.
Go back and watch the first Die Hard. That one sales guy that tried to talk to, the bad German dude.
Yeah.
He was high on coke at the time. Got shot in the head. See, you don't want that to happen. You don't want to be talking to a German, get shot in the head.
I told you, don't turn your back on him.
That's right.
I told you.
Germans are crazy.
I told you.
Man. I think we need to be raising the warning flag about these Germans.
Well, so look, McAfee. I really think that he has turned the corner. I mean, I think he still is crazy,
sure.
Right? He still is. He's drinking. He's still into the drugs. He's got the firearms everywhere.
But just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not actually out to get you.
And they are out to get him. Supposedly they've convened a grand jury in Tennessee over his tax stuff. A grand jury trying to indict him, his wife, 4 of his campaign staff. So he took off on a boat. I think he's in the Bahamas now. They've agreed to not extradite him. And he's running his campaign in exile.
Awesome.
And his platform is I should actually probably pull this up.
Pull it up.
I want to read this because I read it and I was like, oh yeah, you're really. I mean, speaking of Kokesh, like this is kind of what Kokesh was attempting, I think, to be, but he just doesn't have the. No, why did I type in Kokesh? Because I'm talking about McAfee.
So the first time I met Adam Kokesh, super cool guy. I met him at PorcFest.
He's super cool.
And if any of you have not come to PorcFest, please come to PorcFest. It's a fantastic time. And I met the guy a few years ago and really loved talking to him. Unique perspective, ex-military.
Smart guy.
A smart guy. And he actively engages when he is in an environment and there is, some over the top military worship happening.
Oh yeah.
He will actually go up and talk to the people and be like, you sure about that? Like, let's talk about this. And I've seen him diffuse, potentially violent situations where an ex-military person is perhaps offended that somebody would dare say anything negative about the military or say that we shouldn't be at war or say whatever. And, they get all up in arms, so to speak. But I've seen Adam actually get into that, dive head first into that situation, and then not only diffuse it, but then come out the other side with a new friend. And it's the craziest thing. The guy has a real talent for connecting with people.
He's ultra charismatic, but I think it's maybe it is that aspect of him that has always his idea of, we're going to do Kokesh for not president, you're going to elect me, and I'm going to dismantle the government and blah, 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 all of this. To me, I was always like, you're too agreeable of a person for that platform.
Yeah.
You're too agreeable of a person. That platform that does not resonate with me. If you were elected, you would not do that because you are too agreeable. A bunch of people who are working for different government agencies would come in and tell you their sob stories, and you're too empathetic, you wouldn't be able to pull the trigger. The McAfee, on the other hand, is totally disagreeable.
Oh, that motherfucker's crazy.
And so here's the platform. This is at McAfee 2020 HQ if people want to go and check it out. I wish I could probably do the McAfee voice, but I'm not going to do it through the whole thing.
I'll do it.
It says, my campaign platform contains one item. How do we free ourselves from a government that no longer serves us, but instead has become our master, controlling our every action down to the detail of what we may or may not put into our bodies and minds? Our two-party system created a voting process, which is an illusion, and a government that fluctuates between two extremes, each extreme annulling any process made by the opposition in the prior administration. It is a government that has gone insane. While we carry the burden of this government, we are not free. Any attempt to address national problems of any nature is doomed to failure. The best that can be hoped is a solution driven by conflict and incomplete in substance. Until we free ourselves, we are powerless to create any real change. And since our insane government keeps massive secrets from us and is masterful at disinformation, there is not a single national issue that we know the true state of. How then can we address it? You cannot fix what you cannot see. So do not ask me about immigration, foreign relations, education, etc. I have no idea. Those claiming that they do are lying to themselves, or if not, they are purposely lying to you. We must be free. Freedom for the people is my only goal. And he's all about crypto.
So, what's interesting to me about that statement? The general Joe public, if you were to take someone aside on the street and read that statement to them,
they believe it.
Well, they would be shocked, first of all. They would be like, what?
Do you think so? Or they'd be like, actually, well, he's kind of right, but I don't know if you could do anything about it.
Yeah. But these are the same people that then go home in their MAGA hat and pay their taxes. And, it's like, that's the thing.
They're like, we need a wall.
We need a wall. Yeah, where's my wall? So,
because that'll fix it, Dave.
There is a disconnect. Well, honestly, it will. And here's how it's going to happen. Because
Mexico's going to pay for it?
No. AOC is actually going to have her Green New Deal. And as we all know, part of a New Deal is actually having a public works program. And the best part of a public works program is you take people on welfare and you put them to work and you build a damn wall.
See, I don't think AOC's platform is about putting people to work.
No, it's not. I was just comparing it to the original New Deal.
Yeah, this is a new Deal, and the new Deal, the new Deal is, you're already there are already very productive people who are working, and they're being very productive, and they're making a lot of money.
Yes.
So
we need some of that.
We're just going to take that.
Yes.
Because it's there.
Right.
And we have the guns.
Right.
And then we're going to use part of the money to continue to buy more guns and pay the people who will hold those guns.
Right. Because we hate guns. Guns are violent. Guns are like murder weapons. We hate guns. We do not want guns, except in the hands of the police and the military and the other people that we control.
The IRS.
Yes, they must have guns.
Oh, by the way, the IRS has an armed wing.
Yes, they do. They have guns. They have ammunition. They have an entire budget for all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yes, they are a law enforcement agency.
They have like SWAT team units.
Yes, they do.
insane. So if you were to take John McAfee's platform and present it to the average person on the street, part of me believes that they would be shocked and surprised. But then the other part of me is like, if you bring his platform here to New Hampshire and you present it to any two libertarians sitting in a bar having a beer,
They're like, yep.
They're going to be like, that's all? Like, go further. Like, do more. Like, come on. Like,
but I think that's actually, if you can hold to your principles on that. So that was actually like, so I gave 2 talks at the last Liberty, and we could talk a little bit about Liberty Forum.
Oh, I have a piece of paper. Okay. We will talk about Liberty Forum.
So last year at Liberty Forum, that was essentially my talk, was just like, look, if you hold to the principles of decriminalization and enshrinement, basically, like, we're taking shit out and we're saying what the government can't do, and that's all you do, that's enough. You don't really have to go further than that.
Just on a personal note, what I loved was that you made a distinction between decriminalization and legalization that I think a lot of people don't really understand.
Yes.
And I loved it.
Thank you.
So if you want to just give a brief overview for our listeners, I think it'd be valuable.
Well, this is actually a big one for me. If people go on my YouTube, when I sort of first came out of the closet with my libertarian views, with my libertarian views,
with
Dave,
your libertarian
views.
Okay, so I'm still in the closet with the others. Okay, all right, okay. We'll just move on with the libertarian stuff. That's fine.
The video, so I put a video on YouTube, and the title is "Legalizing Marijuana Will Make You Less Free." And so this was preceding the 2016 election, when all of these states, including the state that I was in at the time, Nevada, but including California and a whole bunch of others, were voting for legalization.
Yep.
Now, here we are, 2.5 years later, and the rumblings are getting louder and louder of people saying, well, this was a raw deal. Weed's more expensive. It's stronger by far, but it's more expensive, and in some ways it's actually harder for me to get now than it was back in the, because honestly, I've been smoking weed since I was 15, 16 years old. And I never in my life, so 15, 16 years old, legalized when I'm 38, 39 in the state that I'm living in. So 22 years of my life, all over the world, never once was it really a struggle to get my hands on some weed if I wanted to get high. Anywhere in the world that I was, never once was it a struggle. And also, never once was I in a situation where I felt like procuring an amount to get me and my friends high,
which, knowing you, is not that much.
It's not. I have a very low tolerance for weed. But procuring a personal amount, never once in those 22 years did I feel like I was putting myself in some major legal jeopardy.
Yeah.
Right? So those two things combined. So I'm like, what do I get? What am I getting here? And so legalization versus decriminalization. Very, very easy. Legalization is nothing except for taxation and regulation. That's all it is. It's not that weed is legal. It's that it's been legalized. It's that it has been written into statutes that are sort of elevated from the criminal. Like, it's been written in such a way that there is a regulatory regime saying, if you pay for this license and you go through this thing and you pay this administrative fee and you go over here and you sign this document in triplicate, send it to the business licensing department, get your California license over here, get your this license here, get this thing from the federal government, go to the bank, get this, show me 10 years of back taxes and do all of this, then you can grow one plant.
Right.
You can grow one plant. You know, God forbid that you actually want to start a business. Oh, actually, you can't start those businesses because we had only a limited number of licenses and we already gave those away when we announced, we announced it publicly, very, very fucking quietly. But lo and behold, all of the licenses have gone to the children of elected officials, big donors, lobbyists.
Oh, and there was an $80,000 application fee that's non-refundable. Mm-hmm. So unless you had $80,000 to put up for this non-refundable application fee, you're excluded from even being considered. Yes. And so who does that leave out? Everybody except their buddies.
It leaves out everybody that had been selling me weed for the last 22 years.
Yeah.
Right? So it still is illegal. Mm-hmm. If you are... Now, here's what's... Like I said, I've been smoking weed since I was 15, 16 years old. There's a lot of 16-year-olds smoking weed. That's when people get started. Sure. Between 16 and 20... If you're between 16... 0 and 20 years old in a legal state, Colorado, California, Nevada, Washington. If you're 20 years old, veteran... You're a veteran. You go and you park in your veteran parking space, mm-hmm. right? Get out of your car. You got a sack of weed in your pocket, and a cop walks by and smells it, or you do something crazy. He pulls you out of the car. He looks. Boom, you've got it. You're still a fucking criminal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about this. Even with alcohol.
You're a criminal with that too.
We, at 18... we can send you to Afghanistan where you can have your fucking legs blown off.
Oh, and we can tax the shit out of you.
And then you come home with no legs.
Yeah, sure.
Lieutenant Dan, and you try to go to a bar.
Lieutenant Dan.
Exactly. And now you try to go to a bar and get a beer?
Can't do it.
Fuck you.
Can't do it.
You can't do it because you're not responsible enough to handle a beer. But yet you could fucking go to Afghanistan and handle a goddamn gun and fight a war on our behalf?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're responsible enough for that, but you can't have a fucking beer?
So this is legalization.
Yes.
That legalization is basically like, it's better for us, the state, to take our cut of this.
Yes.
than to simply have it be a net loss to lock everybody up for it. We're still going to lock people up. And we'll especially lock you up. I'll tell you what. Think that you're going to just, let's say that you're even going to buy a commercial property, right? Let's say you've got the dough. Yeah. And you're going to buy a commercial property, and you're just going to throw up a shingle. You're going to take some weed, and you're going to sell it inside that commercial property without getting your city business license, your state cannabis license, your reseller's license, whatever the extra shit, all the extra shit that you're going to have to do. Try that shit. Try it and see if you don't get rated exactly like you would get rated if back in the day when it wasn't legal. Just see how that goes down.
Yeah. I mean, try to sell alcohol without following the three-tier system set up by all the states. It's ridiculous.
Same thing.
Three-tier system, it is to keep their crony buddies in business. Try to sell cars if you're Tesla without going through a dealership network.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually required by law. People don't get this. Like, the reason that Tesla doesn't offer cars in some states is because those states have laws requiring that all cars must be sold through a dealership.
Through a dealer.
Why the fuck would there be a law? Because of legalization.
Legalization. So that's the racket.
That is the racket.
The racket was, wait a minute. Are you like me? Oh, are you a weed smoker? And that was always the craziest. This is what I was trying to, like... This is, if you go back and watch this video, I'm saying in this video, this is exactly what's going to happen. I'm like, look, do you smoke weed? Because the people who were the most for this were weed smokers.
Yeah.
I'm like, every fucking heavy weed smoker I know has always fucking got weed on them.
It's true.
They have since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Now, dude, I've had girlfriends who were like straight up potheads, like who would be smoking from morning to night. I don't even know who their connect was, but live with this woman. I've never seen her buy weed, but I know that she does, and I know that she's got it all the time. She's just got the fucking system figured out.
Yep.
Never got arrested for it. Never so much as got a ticket for it. Never got anything for it. And I'm like, hold on. You say you want legalized weed, but have you ever had a problem acquiring weed when you wanted it? No. Okay. So right now, you've got a situation where you can. Have you ever been arrested for weed? No. Are you scared that you are going to get arrested for weed, that you are going to have legal ramifications for smoking weed? No. But yet you want the government involved in your weed smoking now.
See,
You're all for that.
Sense.
You're all for, like,
Makes no sense.
How could it get better?
Yeah.
Like, how could it get better than, dude, California, when they had the medical regime, when it was just like, walk into this janky ass doctor's office on Melrose, $40. He's like, what's the problem? Pain. My neck hurts. Here you go. Here's your card. Boom. And then you walked it from there for $40.
Yeah.
That lasts forever.
Yeah.
$40 immediately. And then you walk right over to the dispensary. By the way, exact same fucking dispensary that's there now. The dispensary just had to pay for additional licenses. So they had to take the price up from what it was when it was just medical, offering the same products in the same location. That was where it was at when they had the medical regime, and then they went and fucked themselves. Yeah. Because you got to take it one way or the other. It's either going to be taxation and regulation, or, see, and that's why I'm like, New Hampshire has not made the decision yet. I'm hoping that it could be here, real decriminalization. What does that mean? What does decriminalization mean? What is decriminalized? Broccoli is decriminalized. If I search the criminal statute for New Hampshire, I will not find the word broccoli.
Okay.
It is not there. It's not in the New Hampshire criminal statute. I've done this before.
I believe you. I'm just saying, like, are there any regulations for selling, like, say I had a cow and I wanted to milk the cow and sell the milk. In some states you can't do that.
They actually in Maine for a while they had tried to cut the regulations about that back, and the federal government actually stepped in and said, nope, can't do that.
Right. And the federal government has not changed their stance on weed yet.
No, they have not. They have not. But this is where I think if you really want freedom, it's about decriminalization.
I agree.
It's about
100%.
I should see as much mention of marijuana in the criminal statute as I do of broccoli. Same way I feel about prostitution. I should not see the word prostitution. and I have this argument all the time, and a lot less now because I've like distance myself from that, because I'm like, this is a lost cause, because people will understand weed before they'll understand this one. But it's like, you've got these sort of sex worker advocate individuals who have never been in the business,
right,
but are advocates for this, right? It's a big feminist cause. Never mind the fact that there are plenty, they just forget all of the men in the business.
Sure.
That it's like, there are a lot of fucking men in sex work around the world. Sorry, this is not just a female thing. Yes, maybe there's more women.
Okay, so are we including all of the straight men, gay men,
transsexuals,
and trans men?
Yeah, all of that.
Are we including all that?
Everybody.
Okay, because I would think the numbers would
there's
be
there's probably still equal. More women, but what I'm saying is that it's not a trivial number. Let's just put it like that. Like, it's not a women's issue. Okay. In other words, like, men should have a seat at this table to talk about it. And what you talk about is you say, well, take the word prostitution out of the criminal statute.
Yeah.
Take it out. If you want to call it work, call it work. If what your concern is that regulate the same way you would somebody who's going and cutting your grass for an hour. Right? Somebody where you walk up and you're like, hey man, can I shovel your snow for $15 for this hour? Okay, regulate it like that.
Is that regulated?
I guess it's supposed, the income is supposed to be regulated. Perhaps in some places they might have specific laws about, but it becomes a more of a civil issue. It becomes an issue that's happening at the sort of business licensing, sort of regulatory space. All you have to do to make that, it happens automatically if you decriminalize it.
Yeah.
If you decriminalize it, it happens automatically. If you take the word prostitution out of the criminal code, it becomes just like any other work. And so that's, for me, I'm like, stop being a sex work advocate. Stop saying that shit. That's not helping. Like, just say it's work, period.
Just say it's none of your goddamn business. Get your government out of my life.
Well, that would be the ultimate step. Yeah. But in that case, I would say, well, it's none of your damn business. Get the government out of my life for everything.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, government out of my life for anything that I decide to do with my body and my mind, which is my labor. The government should not be involved.
No. Okay. So we could do an entire show on income tax, but
yes,
that's the whole, like, how do people not see the subversive evil within the income tax? Like,
I've got a whole section in my book, Self-Ownership, on that. Yes.
Yeah.
When you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right. Like, and now, right, we have the wealth tax. So not only...
Oh, yeah, well, Elizabeth Warren is when I saw that shit, I was like, the suggestion that we are going to tax every year, if you have a net worth above a certain amount, we are going to tax that. Never mind that if it's income, that your income related to that has already been taxed. So it's like, you made money, ostensibly, you made money to get you to this point.
Yep.
We already taxed that. That was your income tax.
Yep.
No, now we're
if you bought stuff, we probably had a sales tax on that at some
sales
along
tax.
The way. Yeah.
You've paid capital. You've paid your capital gains tax on it.
Capital gains tax.
You've paid all those. No. This is just like, if you have over, I think she said it was going to be $50 million that she was proposing.
Yeah.
If your net worth is over $50 million, we're taxing your ass.
Yeah.
Now, what was interesting was she said that it was the top 0.01%. So I crunched the numbers. It turns out to be the top 0.1%? 0.1% was what she said. A tenth of a percent.
She underestimated by a factor of 10.
The top 10, she said it was going to be against the top, only the top tenth of a percent would fall into this, she said.
Okay.
So I went and I looked. It's going to be about 141,000 people.
Okay.
She said it was going to raise, I believe she said, $3 trillion over, I have this on Twitter, $3 trillion over 10 years. Okay, so that's about $300 billion a year. So what that basically works out to is about an average of $2.5 million per person.
Nice.
And when I posted this and said that it was ridiculous, there were actually responses from people who were saying, well, but this is the top tenth of a percent. $2.5 million isn't even, isn't, what did they say? Is not even a meaningful amount to those people.
Okay. Granted.
No.
Hold on. There is a point to my granting this point.
Okay, all right.
So, all right, let's say, for the sake of argument, Bill Gates whips out his wallet, and or he asks for his wallet from his wife. And he says,
and could you pass over at least one testicle along with that?
Yeah, just half a one. That's fine. And, he whips out his $2.5 million, and he pays the tax, and he goes on with his life because it means nothing. to him. It's like me pulling $1 out of my pocket. Same thing for him.
Okay.
Great. Who the fuck cares? The thing is, just like with the income tax, the real problem is not we're going to take these people that are worth more than $50 million and we're going to put the screws to them because those bastards have exploited us throughout the years. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You personally will be filling out a form every single year to tell the government
that you don't make $50 million?
What your net worth
is.
You have. You are going to not only reveal your income like we already have to, which is a fucking affront to everything that we believe in, but you are going to now have to list your assets. Do I have any assets? Like, what's my car worth? What's my house worth? Do I have any art? Do I have any equipment? What are my tools worth? I'm a mechanic. I've got a chest full of tools.
You can be red flagged and audited for that too.
Exactly, because now the government's not only going to know exactly how much money you make, they're going to know every fucking thing that you own.
Dude, that is the unseen horror in this, because up until now, your sort of savings were exempt from IRS looking at things. It was like, what did you have coming in this year? That's what we're going to steal from you.
Yeah.
Based on that.
Yep.
But if you had shit saved,
or somebody gave you something.
You had appreciation. Well, and what's interesting about it is, capital gains kicks in when you sell something, right? So this is about net worth.
Right. You don't have to sell nothing.
So you could be somebody, like you hear these stories about she washed clothes for 67 years and then saved up and then gave $8 million to Tuskegee University or whatever the fuck it is. You hear these little stories all the time. That's your net worth.
Right.
So that's an appreciation, that's saving, that's, accumulation of wealth because you've put it away for a rainy day. They want that shit.
They do.
And if people think that it's going to stay at the $50 million mark, if they really believe that, they're fucking crazy.
Look at the income tax. Income tax was supposed to be only on the top 0.1% of people.
And it was initially.
Yeah. But then as we moved on, as the government needed more money, it grew and it grew and it grew. They started, but yet every single year, every individual person has to file a form indicating how much money they have made during that year.
That's right.
And if she gets her way, we're also going to have to file another form listing every single thing that we own.
Yeah, that is
friggin' scary.
That is more than anything. It's like this is the mind control, the multi-generational mind control, right?
Yeah.
Because you norm that shit.
Yep.
That's what it's really all about. It's about norming it.
Yeah.
Because right now, the idea that like, oh yeah, income tax, that's totally normal. I'm just going to, but you talk to somebody in like the year 1900 that this is what's going to go on. And they're going to be like, what? No, that's
only for the rich.
Yeah. This would never.
Yeah. Those rich guys, they're going to end up paying some of this, but it's going to benefit me. I'm the little guy.
Yes.
I'm never going to have to pay that.
And so what you do is you norm it. It becomes a norm. It becomes the normal thing. You boil the frog. This is multi-generational. And that what it really is about is it's about time. It's about long time horizons.
Yeah.
Long time horizons where you have families that are thinking in multi generations. They're like, yep, it'll be 6 generations before my great grandchildren will get paid off from this policy that we're putting in here now. And what my job is just to be sure that my family doesn't fall out of power in this time. Like, it's like every generation, your only job is keep the fucking game going and make sure that you stay where you're at. There's this guy who's been doing, it's funny because I've been thinking about this week because I found this guy, this YouTube channel. I guess he had been doing, it's called Stories of Fire and Ice or Thoughts of Fire and Ice, something like that. But it's he had been doing like Game of Thrones, kind of like breakdowns of the books and things. But then he did a Dune one.
Oh, nice.
And so I had only read the first book. I kind of knew what the storyline was of the other books, but he does these great like long, like he took like 2 hours in every book.
Wow.
And he's like does the whole sort of plot line, storyline, pulls out some key pieces of dialogue, like does a little bit of analysis about the story, and then he has these other analyses that are great. But so part of the people who don't know Dune, they're doing the reboot, so I'm sure people will watch that. The movie's pretty close. The original Dune movie's pretty close to the book. I mean, it leaves out details, but it's well done. It looks like how I imagined when I first read the book. But the book God Emperor of Dune is about, I guess he's the son of the star of the first book, who becomes an emperor of the entire universe, basically, and lives for 3,000 years.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's you got to get into the story to figure out how that whole thing happens. But it's that story. It's that where he knows he's going to live for that long. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, he calls it the golden path. He's like, here's the plan. And it's it's when your time horizon is in the thousands of years, how do you behave so differently?
Yeah. Because then it goes back to what we talked about last week about being on the team, right? So when you think about families like the Rothschilds,
yep,
and maintaining that power level over hundreds and hundreds of years, like regime changes and government changes and laws and this laws and that laws.
But not you. You don't change.
No, because you have a vision.
Yep.
And if everybody plays their role and does their job and protects the quarterback,
yep,
then we're going to be fine in 500 years.
That's right.
Because that's the goal.
That's right.
Nobody thinks like that today.
No.
Except the Rothschilds.
and it's funny because I've really had that. I've recently come around to trying to put my mind in that space when it comes to Bitcoin, because I've realized like, oh man, this really is I need to start thinking in like, if I'm doing something in this space, I'm just playing a role in a broader thing, like to not. Because I think that that initial phase of like the initial strong build-up phase, I think may be ending. And I think that's what people are calling this like a bear market. I don't think this is a bear market. I think this is a mainstreaming. And that we're getting into a situation where it's like, okay, now is the real work of building. Like the novelty has worn off. This is a real thing. Everybody around is like, it's not going anywhere. The people who are in it are saying it's not going anywhere. But I'm talking to, people who are crypto investors, like talking to people who are in the space, who are throwing money in, venture capitalists and whatnot. I see they don't have that time horizon.
Right.
They're still in the tech, the internet. And when I say internet, I mean like web time horizon. So
sure.
Like from 97 till now. So which is basically the last 20 years. So basically they're in this 20-year time horizon where it's like companies rise and fall and they do this thing. That actually, okay, and we're maybe nearing the end of that now. So it's like Google is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Facebook may fall apart.
Probably will.
Soon, probably.
Yeah.
But Google is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Probably Apple is going nowhere. Samsung, as in terms of like device manufacturers, is going nowhere.
Yeah.
You've got these various different camps, and they're going nowhere. and they're just gonna they're gonna fucking rule. Huawei's going nowhere. They're gonna rule the roost, and it might be 100 years. They'll probably have Sears like longevity.
Sure.
And so it was all about like who's gonna win out through all of that. I think we saw the same thing in a very compressed, like it was 10 years instead with cryptocurrency. Instead of 20, it was 10, and
sure.
I think we're emerging out of that right now.
But that's the way with everything these days. I mean, everything is accelerating at a breakneck pace, and when you're talking about Bitcoin, you're talking about and look at all the various altcoins that have come up.
But you notice that you don't really see. I mean, remember like in 2014, 15, 16, it was just like every other day there was a new altcoin.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, don't even think about it.
Yep.
This BCH BSV split, that was the last time. That was the last time you're going to see that. You're not going to see that again. It's just not going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
Like anybody and that was just off the strength of the charisma of Craig Wright. Not, and that he was able to gather this cult around him, but people have learned now.
Is he still on Twitter?
Here's what's funny about that dude. Like, and I knew he was going to do this because it's just like, again, this is somebody who's possessed. This is somebody who's predictable. I've been blocked for a long time from Craig. Although he does still stalk me and he does still screenshot my Twitter. He did it as recently as maybe like a week and a half ago, screenshot something and make a comment. So for a long time I don't know, a long time. It wasn't even a long time. It was maybe a month.
You were like living rent-free in his head, man.
In his head. For like a month, he had decided that he was going, like after the fork, because I guess, he was just getting trolled, man.
Yeah.
So he did this thing where you have to individually approve people that only your followers can see your feed or whatever. So he's just relentlessly blocking people, and then only the sycophants could see it. He's now reopened it.
Oh.
So that so if you want to look at his feed, you just throw up an incognito tab on your browser, and then you just like see his feed. Just like, I don't okay. But what was funny was that as soon as he did that thing where he was only allowing approved followers to see it, there were like 4 different bots.
Yeah.
The fake Satoshi bot who were just reposting his shit.
Yeah. He didn't know who they were, and they would just repost his stuff so everybody could enjoy it.
So he's still there, and BSV is it's becoming an interesting experiment in them trying to use. And it's so interesting because the only use for a blockchain, its raison d'etre, it's like its reason for existing, is to solve the double spend problem. It's a shit database. Like, you don't want to use a blockchain as a database to store any sort of store any data of any size. It's just not what you want to do. Yeah. You get a shit. First off, you get a shit timestamp. That's the first thing, because you get the blocks timestamp. Like, that's not when you pushed it up. That's not when you broadcasted it. You can't even get a legit fucking timestamp. It's that bad of a database. The only reason that it's there is to solve the double spend problem, to be used as cash. These people on BSV in the last 2 weeks have put up excerpts from Alice in Wonderland in their op return. And they're bragging about this. And these are like their top developers who are like, oh, here you go, check out this transaction. And people are like, oh my God, it's 3 pages from Alice in Wonderland. Somebody put up the Super Mario Brothers NES ROM onto the blockchain. And it's like, what? This is, I said, and I had predicted this. I put out a tweet and I said, Lorem Ipsum. Lorem Ipsum is coming.
Yep. And it's here.
Here they go. They're doing Lorem Ipsum. And it's like, yeah, let's just increase the size of this blockchain for no apparent reason. Because you're going to start to, when the reason why is they have a lot of people who are not engaged enough to have even thought to like, hey, maybe I can try running a full node. You know, because pretty soon they're going to get to a point where it's like, oh, wow, the people that we split from, they've actually had more transactions happening. They're at like 200 gigs. We're at like 3 terabytes over here. We fucked up. We fucked up because now I'm trying to pull up and run a node on Amazon Web Services, and this shit is mad expensive. Like, this is costing me $250 a month to run this bitch.
And, you know, that's what happens when you have script kiddies make your strategic decisions.
That's basically it. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, yeah, we will proceed to run this motherfucker into the ground. And when you've got people backing it who are like, oh, yeah, here we go. That's good. Yeah, that's a good decision. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what, let's just do the dumbest thing that we could possibly do. We've only got a few minutes. Maybe we should talk about Liberty Forum.
Liberty Forum, my friend, is coming up next week.
Which is the smartest thing you could do, by the way.
It is totally smart. It's going to be a blast. We have an amazing array of great speakers. What is it? nhlibertyforum.org?
That's right.
I believe that is the correct website to go to. I have in my hands this magical sheet of paper, which contains all of our live streams. Where we're going to have, basically a long-ass, wine-fueled, sarcastic, trolling live stream running the entire time. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yes, we are doing the official live stream. I think it'll probably be broken up into a bunch of recordings, but people should tune in live. If you can't get up here, or if you're in somewhere that is a lot warmer than New Hampshire is going to be, and you just want to gloat and maybe talk to us in live chat while we're getting hammered, do so, please, next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Who do we have on the lineup?
So we're going to start off, and this is, some of this stuff was actually a surprise to me. So we're going to talk about this really kind of quickly. So first, Thursday, February 7th, podcast open mic. Are we having like some kind of contest? Are we just going to sit and talk to each other?
Yeah, we might be the open micers. So
that's okay.
I don't really know what that means.
So another really awesome thing for our audience is that we are going to have quite a bit of space in our podcast area, and there are going to be chairs set up so people can sit around, hang out with us, talk to us, interact with us live. It is going to be phenomenal. So anyway, on Thursday, starting at 2 p.m., we are going to be live streaming from Liberty Forum. I will say, very coincidentally, and I almost called Coast to Coast AM on this because it was such a weird coincidence, the Cash Bar also starts at exactly the same time as our podcast. So I'm assuming this is just a weird coincidence that the Cash Bar opens and our podcast starts at exactly the same time.
Probably, yes.
Yes. So immediately thereafter, we're doing an interview with either, I think it's probably going to be Daniel Garza, who we end up interviewing at 4 o'clock. And then Lynn Ulbricht. This is going to be a phenomenal interview.
What a great way to open it up,
I know. 4:30 on Thursday. Wonderful person. I've met her several times, and phenomenal story. Friday, we are going to have to drag our asses out of bed by 10 a.m. to get on the live stream.
So I will already have been in the gym. I will have gotten in a workout, done the whole thing. You may still be.
I will have to drag my ass out of bed. Or I could go to the gym and embarrass myself.
There you go.
Either way,
let's do it. Let's do it.
That'd be fun. We can do the gym. So we are going to talk to some financial people. We've got Dan Johnson.
Nice.
Not Don Johnson.
No, Dan.
Weirdly enough.
From We Do Better. Yes, Dan. Yes, Dan is great. I have not met him in person, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, talking about cocaine earlier, I'm just thinking Miami Vice
Don Johnson,
Don Johnson. So Dan Johnson. That'll be cool. Then we also have Gret Gliver.
Okay.
We have we're going to talk to some new movers. We have new movers coming in all the time. It is a phenomenal place to be. Come here to New Hampshire.
Yes.
You're going to love it. Just from the bar discussion we were talking about earlier, where it's like you take the McAfee platform, you talk to somebody here, one of our tribe in New Hampshire, and they're like, yeah, duh. Lou Perez. We're going to be talking to Lou Perez. We're going to be talking to Pete Raymond.
Oh, yes.
That guy
Pete
posts some funny
Mance Raider Raymond. Yep, that's only one bottle of wine.
I'm telling you, one bottle of wine. We're going to be drinking more. I hope you have your drinking pants on next time.
I will have my drinking pants. I'll have my Depends on.
Yes, there we go. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Pete because he posts some really funny shit.
Yes.
All right. Tate Fegley, also on the list. Stefan Kinsella.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That will be fun. TJ Corcoran, Lee McGrath, Nathan. I don't know if it's Fatal or Fatal. I'm not sure how
Fatal,
you pronounce it.
yes.
Fatal sounds about right. And then Friday night, are we going to do Destination Unknown?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see if I'm still. I mean, we may wade our way into it and see what happens.
I might have to bring you a pot of coffee, my friend, because I'm thinking there might be some people in our audience who are counting
that could be good.
On us doing some Destination Unknown.
All right.
One in particular who has offered to bring us some wine.
Oh, well, if there's wine involved, then I'll probably be there. Okay.
And then, of course, on Saturday, February 9th, we're going to be talking crypto first thing at 10 a.m. in the morning. We're going to be talking crypto. Then we're going to be talking to Wade Borth, followed by Carlos Morales. Then we're going to go to lunch. After lunch, we're going to be talking to some of the education panelists that are going to be presenting. Education's a huge topic.
A lot of homeschool, a lot of
tons of homeschool.
You know, yes, it's actually a very knowledgeable and experienced group here.
It really is
in regards to sort of alternate ways of schooling. It's very good. So I'm looking forward to that.
Maj Touré?
Yeah, that's Black Guns Matter. He does Black Guns Matter, yeah.
Big dude?
Yeah.
Okay, dude. So he was the same guy that was at Porkfest, right?
With dreads?
I think
Long
so.
dreads?
Yeah.
No. That's the guy, you're thinking of the guy from... The guy out of Detroit who has private... No. This is you'll like Maj Touré.
Okay.
He does Black Guns Matter. He's more of an activist. He's been doing these workshops training folks in the hood in gun safety. And so it's it's great. It should.
No, that's good.
I'm looking forward to. I think he's the keynote for that day. So it's really dynamic speaker.
Honestly, I think everybody should, if they choose, everybody should have a gun if they want one.
Yeah, sure.
Just learn to use it.
Absolutely.
Learn to use it, and don't think that the stuff you see in video games is real. It's not.
Yeah, no.
All right. Yes, definitely looking forward to meeting him. Frank Atwood, approval voting. So
okay. Yeah, that'll be good.
Eric Brakey. We're going to talk to some New Hampshire legislators, which is kind of funny because here in New Hampshire we have shitloads of legislators.
We could pretty much, if to talk to a New Hampshire legislator at Liberty Forum, you could pretty much just go like, hey, are you a legislator? And just do that about 5 times, and then we'll talk to somebody. Yeah, because it's 1 in 5 people there will have a legislative position.
Yeah,
but they're not sucking off the government teat. You're only if you are a state rep, you're getting paid like $100 a year. So
yeah, it's $100 a year, and you get to go through the toll road booths for I say free, but it's not free. The government actually covers it or doesn't charge
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to cap off the evening talking to Rachel Goldsmith.
Nice. Yes.
we have a full packed schedule.
Big.
It is going to be amazing.
It's big.
We're going to be very drunk. We're going to be doing a lot of talking. Funny things will be said, and hopefully no feelings will be hurt too badly. But
some will definitely get hurt.
Some will definitely get hurt.
I can guarantee that. But you should turn it. God damn it!
Turn it up, man.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. If you are a Destination Unknown listener, you will get to see us just because there will eventually come a point in every day when we will have basically just gone into because we will go destination. We are going Destination Unknown.
The entire thing's going to be.
I
am going to talk about pro wrestling while somebody important is trying to say something important.
Yeah. So basically, what you're going to witness is you're going to witness Destination Unknown and little stops along the way of wonderful libertarian guests, as well as maybe we'll pull some random free staters to get in on the discussion. So if you enjoy this show, which obviously you do because you're still listening, that you will enjoy this time. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, basically all day. So you can tune in and you can have a marathon. I'm looking forward to it, dude. It's going to be very nice.
It's going to be amazing.
So we're done.
We're done. So come sit in the audience because there's going to be a lot of audience participation stuff. So it'll be fantastic. Thank you.
Yes,
my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you. As always, we will see you guys. We'll see you on Thursday. You're going to be tuning into the Liberty Forum live stream. Wow, it's going to be a marathon session of Destination Unknown.